so you are one of four sisters who own a premier luxury boutique in Toronto, specializing in lingerie and swimwear.
Correct.
And if you haven't been, it's an iconic place to visit, Melmira. And so, really excited to talk to you. You see so many women in the demographic of perimenopause and menopause. And so, what are some of the themes or things that you hear just in general?
Well, I've been doing this, more than 20 years. And I think if there's one guarantee, it's that women's bodies change. And when you enter that perimenopause and into menopause stage, it's amplified. It's an interesting timing for me because I'm actually there myself. And right before this interview, I was helping a woman who came in saying her bras were terribly uncomfortable. And
Mhm.
once we got in the room, she told me that she had just gained 20 pounds over the last, number of months. And of course, there we are. So
Yeah.
she's going through menopause. So I thought how interesting. I almost wanted to invite her to share
Yes.
her
Yeah.
experience here.
Yes.
Yeah, I think at this stage, we're going through so much hormonally, and one effect as it relates to what I do is that it's very hard to maintain your body weight with sort of the same program you've always been used to. So what I see is that women will tend to um, most women will go up at least a size in the cup and
Okay.
oftentimes a size in the rib cage as well. And then it almost becomes a science. So it's very confusing. Women, I find just from my experience, I'm certainly not a doctor, but I find at this stage when women come in, there are other things going on. Of course, their temperatures
Yeah.
running differently. So the bra plays a role in that.
Yeah.
I also feel like we develop different sensitivities, and I don't know if
Mm.
you can attest to that, but
Mm.
we're seeking more comfort,
Yeah.
and that's sort of amplified by the COVID comfort movement. So women are looking for something in a bra that ironically isn't necessarily what they need.
Mm.
So
Interesting.
that's why I find bra fittings during this stage of life incredibly rewarding.
Right.
Women, they don't recognize their bodies and they need help. And they don't know, it's not intuitive, right?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
sort of what to do. Women that are small busted to begin with, sort of before, are suddenly busty.
Hmm.
Even if they're a C cup, they're like, oh
Right.
my gosh, I'm huge.
Yeah.
They're not used to that. They've never worked with that. And then women that started out a little bustier are really struggling.
Hmm.
So again, like the instinct that women have with being warm and having maybe wanting to move away from lace and move away from underwire because they think that that'll feel better
Right.
actually doesn't do a service to their figure
Right. Right.
as their bodies are changing. So that's where we come in.
For sure. And I hadn't really thought about how important those materials are if you're experiencing hot flashes and sensitivity to different materials. So, someone like you with your expertise in the different types of materials would be a life changer, I think, for a lot of women.
Yep, absolutely.
And so, for women who are resistant, because I think there's a lot of women that are just like, oh, I'll just keep the bra I have and deal with it.
Mhm.
Or, I'll just go to a lower end store and grab some bras. Why is it so important to get fitted
Yeah,
properly?
that's a good question. I think we often think bra fittings are specialty. So
Mhm.
I'm not specialty necessarily if I'm,
Mhm.
not in certain categories.
Mhm.
And we also think dollar signs, like
Yeah.
more expensive. What's the point? I'm surviving. I'm managing,
Yeah.
but I will guarantee you, if you invest in a fitting, in a quality bra that comes from a fitting, right? Because that's where you have the availability of the right merchandise and the expertise, the art, the science, and everything. We can talk about all of that
Mhm.
that goes into a fitting, but you end up looking better, you
Mhm.
end up feeling better, okay, which is really important.
So important.
The bra will then also last longer because it's fit properly and it's of certain quality. And so in the end, ironically, you save money.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
And I can say that because I am passionate about it, but the proof is that once a woman does go that direction, it's very rare for her to not continue.
Mhm.
So it's like, oh, once you once you see the experience, you believe it yourself because you've been through it. It's not a sales pitch.
For sure. And I have seen you on various television shows and seen the before and after and how the clothes fit on the women, but also, they almost brighten up with confidence because they're just positioned better and feel taller and feel better. Um, and so I kind of think of it as like our blue jeans, right? So, you might invest a little bit more in one or two pairs of jeans, but you're not buying like 10 pairs of low end jeans that never fit you right. So, do I have it sort of right? Like maybe you invest in like one or two
And actually,
bras.
that's such a good analogy. And if you're buying two jeans, you're not going to buy the same pair twice, right? You're going to
Right.
buy two different looks depending on dressy, casual, whatever, cool, elevated. It's the same with bras. So
Yeah.
if you can wrap your head around the idea of, first of all, not defining yourself by a size, like
Mhm.
jeans, you're going to be different sizes depending on brand, origin, color, everything. Black is always tighter than nude, as an example.
Yeah.
So if you can wrap your head around being open-minded to the power of suggestion in a fitting, because we have all the knowledge, then you should ideally leave with, I think three is actually a good
Okay.
starting point
Yeah.
because you'll need sort of a light, a dark, and a specialty, whether that's plunge, push up, strapless, sports. So, it's nice to have the rotation. And because, first of all, they'll last longer
Yeah.
if you're rotating them, and you're going to look ideal in all of your wardrobe. You're not going to have that because if you just find one and you buy five of them, you're going to look the same in everything. And
Right.
we all know that different outfits need different
Yeah.
silhouettes
Yeah.
to maximize your shape.
And I don't know how much women think about that in terms of like, certainly they think about the outfit, but maybe not about the bra for their boobs in their
Yeah.
outfit. You
You
must
can
hear that a
invest in
lot.
like a beautiful sweater. And if you
Yeah.
don't have, or like never mind a dress, right, for a special
Mhm.
occasion,
Mhm.
the bra can ruin it. The bra, the bra can make the outfit. It's the
Right. Right.
foundation. It's the
Right.
foundation of the way you look and feel.
Right.
So, yeah.
And just out of curiosity, how many women, like what percentage of women come in and think that there's a style of bra that only looks good on them and they leave with a completely different type?
90%.
That's what I thought. And what percentage of women think they know their size and leave in a totally different size?
90%.
Yeah.
Uh, Absolutely. And what's funny is our size changes constantly.
Mhm.
And as do bras, as do, like, you can be four sizes, I would say, depending on the bra, and it's called sister sizing. So, you women get out a measuring tape and what size am I? I have tried so hard to understand that. And again, I've been doing this so many years. There's no correlation between the number on a measuring tape and the size of a bra. Like if you line them up, they're all different. And
Right,
so and I think it's also because of fabric, like memory, stretchability,
right.
width, all kinds of things, underwire. So don't get don't get fixated on a certain style or a certain size.
Because it could be
Is
different.
Yeah.
And so what is some of the science behind fitting?
Okay. Well, just I mean, I can explain how a bra should fit, or I can explain things to look for when a bra doesn't fit.
Maybe when
Um,
it doesn't fit, what do you look for?
sure. And I think just I'll prelude that by saying that a lot of women end up starting in the wrong place with fit. But even if you do get a good fit, over time, the bra stretches and it can become ill-fitted. So even if you think you have a great bra, don't hold on to it for 5 years because it was the right one, because
Yeah,
it changes and you change.
yeah,
So just like keeping that in mind. And that's why I think like annual fittings, just like you do all your annual
right,
appointments,
right.
annual fittings to the bra store is actually so crucial
Mm,
um, to establish all of that. Like, is it fitting properly? I have women coming in all the time saying, does this fit? Why and why not? And then
mm,
we move into what they need.
right.
So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to go for a fitting and not buy, like it won't happen, but it's not expected that you buy. There's no charge for a fitting. Sorry, I'm going off topic.
No, this is all important. So
Yeah,
yeah, so I mean, no, like I think that's really critical. So there's not a fee to get fitted, but you're not going to leave without something because you're going to have that aha moment like, oh my goodness, this makes so much economic sense, so much sense for feeling good and looking good. And so what would you look for is for a woman who sort of needs a bit more convincing and is wearing their bra? What would you say are good things to look for that the bra is not quite right?
sure. So, the bra to start with, I think the most important part is the band, or the starting point.
Yeah.
It's very important that it's nice and snug and it starts on the loosest hook. A bra
Okay.
is always going to stretch
Okay.
unless you're planning on gaining weight for, any particular reason, including pregnancy or certain medications. You want to start on the loosest hook because
Okay.
it's going to give you the most longevity. A
Yeah.
lot of women, and you may relate to this, is they don't want anything cutting, of course, to show in shirts. So they go loose.
Mm,
And that is the beginning of the end,
right.
because what happens is the bra ends up riding up because the weight is anchored at the front.
Yeah.
And then it's a vicious cycle. So the front, it's like a teeter-totter effect, I like to
Okay.
explain. So the back
Yeah.
goes up, the front goes down. And then we tighten our straps to get more lift,
Right.
but the
Right.
bra is anchored at the front. So the back just goes higher, the front goes lower. And then all these other things start to happen, including straps falling off your shoulders,
Yes.
the bra cutting into your breast tissue or gaping,
Hmm.
the bra not sitting flush with your rib cage.
Okay.
Um, what else? I mean, a bra should be hugging you. It should be serving you.
Yes.
And a lot of times when you have these red flags, it might be the right size, but the wrong style. And I can talk to sort of a few things women tend to go for and why that's a mistake
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk, we can talk lace, padding, minimizing,
Yeah.
and underwire. So
Right.
I don't know if
Yeah.
any of those sound like
Absolutely. All of
something
them.
to. Okay, so women, okay, we'll start with the first thing I said,
Yeah.
lace. Women tend to think of lace as beautiful. It's very
Mhm.
sexy, but uncomfortable and not supportive. Is that
Mm.
kind of fair?
I think so. Yeah.
But lace, there are many types of lace. There's like the Chantilly stretch lace, there's tulle lace, which is no stretch. So within lace, there's a whole,
Right.
range, but lace adapts to the body and it actually serves to lift the breast in a cup.
Okay.
um and especially when you have a seam, a line. Women, I mean, some women are probably like, why do seams even exist? Because they show. Well, they exist to lift the breast in the cup, to actually
Right.
work to lift and to pull the bust line in on the side.
Okay.
And if it's not lace, it's not going to do that.
Okay.
So lifting the breast, pulling you forward, and then defining your waist, lengthening your torso,
Mhm.
and giving you less circumference, if that makes sense. So less roundness
Yeah.
and a little more definition. So
Right.
like a jacket like I'm wearing, when I'm wearing lace, it falls beautifully. If I
Right.
was wearing padding or microfiber, it would pull the jacket out or the
Okay.
blouse apart,
Oh,
right?
interesting. Okay.
So women will, so just keeping in mind, to summarize that, lace serves you and it's beautiful and it should be very comfortable. If it's not comfortable because you have an allergy, that's a different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
It's also breathable. So typically more breathable than a microfiber or a cotton, because cotton absorbs moisture and it doesn't really hold.
Okay.
So don't shy away from trying lace, I guess, and nowadays, like, they call them French seams, but like a very flat lace is not going to show,
Okay.
especially in black, like in your darks. I wish I could show you, but I'm wearing
Yeah.
like black and I'm wearing a lot of lace and you're not going to see a thing. So that's one. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll talk to underwire.
For sure. I think underwire has a ton of misconceptions around it. So love to hear about it.
Okay, I think quality underwire is really important. Flexibility, the right wire from, Belgium, France, lots of countries, really. But those two pop into my mind are going to be lined, reinforced, coated, heat bonded. They're going to have all of the bells and whistles.
Okay.
Um, they also have different underwires for each size. as opposed to some companies which will take a wire and they'll bring it over to all sizes
Yeah.
that are sister sizes. So anyway, the point is quality is key if you're going to do an underwire. And a lot of women, they shy away from wires because they think they're not comfortable.
Mhm.
If you have a protruding rib cage, different story.
Okay.
But a non-underwire is going to be more bra than a wire.
Okay.
So a wire is going to give you more support
Right.
for less bra.
Right.
So, and I think less is more when it comes to comfort and breathability,
Right.
and longevity. So an underwire, if it's fit properly and it's a good quality, should, in most situations, give you more support, more comfort, more breathability, et
Mhm.
cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
Um, so, I mean, certainly some women are concerned about all kinds of things with EMFs or with, I get it. I get it. And everybody has their own opinion. And I think like right after surgery, it's not a good idea, of course. You know, like there's certain situations, or maybe if you're a young teen, you know, and you're changing, not a good idea. Like
Mhm.
you wait till you're sort of established. Um, but generally speaking, I think underwire has a bad name, and I actually think it's like incredible what an
Okay.
underwire does for the body. Um, Padding, a lot of women want padding. Can you guess why? Like
Well, to
women,
make your breasts look fuller and larger.
yes. So in that case, padding is great. If it's discreetness because you don't want to see your nipples,
Yes.
that's the wrong reason.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, there are like nipple covers on the market are amazing. Nippies is an amazing brand. They have
Okay.
adhesive, non-adhesive. So that is to me, I know an extra step, but if you're very sensitive to that, that is an easy 2-second step to get a better shape and fit. So again, like padding is great if you want more volume, but if it's just for discreteness and you actually want like to be lifted or minimized, I
Mhm.
would not be wearing padding. And
Right.
I see
Right.
that all the time.
You do.
Yeah, women think padding gives more support and a
Oh,
better
interesting.
shape and more discreteness, and
Oh,
it actually is the opposite.
yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. And how about the minimizer?
Yeah, it's like such a good topic because I hear it all day long. If you don't want to be accentuated and given more fullness, you usually want to be minimized. And a lot of women, even if they're small busted, want to be minimized. And I think that's because their body's changing and they're not used to it.
Mhm.
Um, so a conventional minimizer, which I think of as North American, sort of like our
Okay.
continent,
Yeah.
what it's going to do is it's going to minimize the projection of the breast. Okay.
Okay.
So it's going to like compress, it's going to
Okay.
flatten. And that's what a lot of women are looking for, they think. But if you think about the science of it, if you flatten the breast, it has to go somewhere.
What about
So
the
it's,
sides, right?
yeah. So
The
it's
old
going to go
side boobage.
east, west. East, west, lower, and then I like the word circumference because most women understand that, right? Like
Yeah.
you're going to have a more circumference. So when you have more fullness, you're going to look fuller.
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't have the projection, but you're going to look rounder, fuller, lower, softer, all of those things we don't typically identify with as women.
You have
So
your boobs under your armpits a little bit.
exactly. Yeah, not good for the game of golf.
No,
No,
no.
no, but so, and I don't want to discount minimizers for all the bra
Yeah,
designers
for
out
sure,
there
for
because
sure, for sure.
absolutely they have a place. I sell them all the time.
Yeah.
They're good for like a basic t-shirt bra, especially if you're a little hippier at the bottom and you're a little curvier, I should say.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful shape. If you're very like straight and narrow, you don't want that. What you want is what I call a European minimizer. That's I coined that, but basically it's because in Europe they're not afraid of lace, they're not afraid of seams.
Okay.
And what a European minimizer does is it's going to have a line, a soft flat line. It's going to lift you, bring you forward, and give you more length. So your projection isn't minimized, but the roundness is. There's a fine line because you don't want to be pointy.
Yeah.
right? And I get that. They're like for sure.
Yeah.
The Madonna kind of effect you don't
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
so you want the most lift and accentuation without being pointy, and that is so slimming.
Mm.
And for us women that are gaining and that are going through this transition and it's so hard, that's a much better shape than to be minimized because that's going to give you more roundness.
Well, Amie, I just am in awe of you. You have been at this for decades and you're so authentically passionate about women
Oh,
feeling good and looking good. And it's just it's inspiring. So thank you. And you have convinced, I think, everybody how important it really is as your body's changing to really get a fitting, invest in some bras, feeling good at the core. I like that notion of it's your foundation. So start with your foundation and build out. And you deserve to feel great about yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much for making the time for this. I think it's really important for women to hear.
Thank you. It's an honor. I loved it.
Awesome. We'll talk soon.
Okay.